Welcome to SS2 Agricultural Science, Term 3, Week 14. Climate change is one of the most significant threats to global food security and agriculture in the 21st century. Nigeria, as a country in the tropical/subtropical zone that is already subject to significant climate variability, is highly vulnerable to the impacts of a changing climate. By the end of this lesson, you will define climate change and explain its causes, the greenhouse effect and human activities, describe the impacts of climate change on Nigerian agriculture, explain adaptation and mitigation strategies, and answer WAEC questions on climate change and agriculture. Let us begin. Climate versus weather. Weather is the short-term atmospheric condition at a place and time, rain today, sunshine tomorrow. Climate is the average pattern of weather over many years, 30+ years, at a location. Climate change refers to long-term shifts in global temperatures and weather patterns, primarily caused by human activity since the Industrial Revolution, mid-1800s. The greenhouse effect. The atmosphere contains greenhouse gases, GHGs, that act like the glass of a greenhouse. They allow solar radiation, short wave, to enter but absorb and re-emit infrared radiation, long wave, warming the Earth's surface. Natural greenhouse effect is essential for life on Earth. Without it, Earth's average temperature would be -18 degrees Celsius instead of +15 degrees Celsius. Enhanced greenhouse effect. Since industrialization, humans have been releasing large amounts of additional GHGs into the atmosphere, intensifying the natural greenhouse effect and warming the Earth beyond its natural range. Major greenhouse gases and sources: carbon dioxide, with CO2 burning of fossil fuels, coal, oil, natural gas, deforestation, cement production, most important GHG by volume. Methane, CH4 livestock digestion, ruminants, cattle, sheep, goats belch methane during fermentation in the rumen, flooded rice paddies, natural gas leaks, landfills, approximate 28 times more potent than CO2 over 100 years. Nitrous oxide, N2O synthetic nitrogen fertilizers applied to soils, a significant percentage is emitted as N2O, animal manure, approximate 265 times more potent than CO2. Water vapor, a feedback mechanism, warming increases evaporation, more water vapor, more warming. Chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, refrigerants, ozone depleting, also potent GHGs. Global warming. The average global temperature has risen approximately 1.1 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels as of 2023. The 2015 Paris Agreement aims to limit warming to 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels by 2100. Observed and projected impacts of climate change on Nigerian agriculture: temperature increase. Higher temperatures increase evapotranspiration, water loss from soil and plants, increase crop water demand, accelerate pest and disease cycles. Many insects develop faster in warmer conditions, may exceed the thermal threshold of some crops. At temperatures above 35 degrees C, many crop plants reduce photosynthesis and set fewer grains. Rainfall changes. Rainfall is becoming more erratic in Nigeria. The Sahel and Sudan savanna zones, north, are getting drier, less rainfall, more frequent droughts. Some areas in the south are experiencing more intense but shorter rainy seasons, longer dry spells between rains. The Lake Chad region. Lake Chad has shrunk by approximately 90% from the 1960s to 2020s due to reduced rainfall and increased demand. This has devastated agriculture and pastoralism in the northeast. Flooding. Heavy rainfall events are becoming more intense. Flooding of farmland causes crop losses, soil erosion, destruction of farm infrastructure. Recent floods in Kogi, Anambra, Bayelsa, major crop losses. Desertification. The Sahara Desert is advancing southward into Nigeria at a rate estimated at 0.6 kilometers per year. Usable agricultural land in northern Nigeria is being lost. This is driving farmer-herder conflicts as pastoralists push south looking for pasture. Sea level rise. Coastal farming communities, Niger Delta, Lagos, face saltwater intrusion into freshwater farmland and erosion of coastal agricultural land. Pest and disease changes. Climate change may expand the range of some pests northward, e.g. malaria mosquitoes, Crop pest, fall armyworm, a new invasive pest that arrived in Africa in 2016, thrives in warmer conditions. Climate change may increase aflatoxin contamination of maize and groundnuts, produced by moles that thrive in hot, humid conditions. Adaptation, adjusting agricultural practices to cope with actual or expected climate change effects. Crop-level adaptations, drought-tolerant crop varieties. IITA and NRCRI have developed drought-tolerant maize, cowpea, and cassava varieties for Nigeria. Early maturing varieties can be planted later and harvested before the dry season or before floods. Heat-tolerant varieties, crops selected for performance at higher temperatures. Management adaptations, irrigation, expanding irrigated agriculture in northern Nigeria to compensate for reduced rainfall reliability, water harvesting, collecting and storing rainwater for use during dry spells, pits, half-moon earthworks, traditional rainwater harvesting techniques in the Sahel, agroforestry, incorporating trees into cropland and pasture. Trees provide shade, reducing soil moisture loss and crop heat stress, improve soil fertility, sequester carbon, and provide additional products, fruits, timber, fuel, conservation agriculture, reduce tillage or no-till, permanent soil cover with mulches or cover crops, reduces soil erosion, water loss, and maintains soil organic matter. Diversification, crop and livestock diversification reduces dependence on any single enterprise that may fail under changing climate conditions. Early warning systems, weather forecasting services. Nigeria Meteorological Agency, NIMET, provides seasonal forecasts to help farmers plan planting dates, SMS weather alerts. Livelihood diversification, off-farm income to buffer against agricultural climate losses. Mitigation, reducing the emission of greenhouse gases that cause climate change. Agriculture's contribution to mitigation, reduce deforestation. Forests are major carbon sinks. Deforestation in Nigeria, particularly in the south for agriculture, releases stored carbon. Forest protection and reforestation reduce GHG emissions. Agroforestry, trees in farming systems sequester carbon. Improved livestock management, dietary supplements, e.g. tannin-rich feeds, can reduce methane emission from ruminants, reducing unnecessary cattle numbers, culling poor performers, reduces total methane. Efficient fertilizer use, precision fertilizer application, right rate, right time, right placement, reduces N2O emissions. Nitrification inhibitors can reduce N2O losses. Soil carbon sequestration, conservation tillage and addition of organic matter builds soil organic carbon, removes CO2 from the atmosphere. Biogas production, capturing methane from animal manure and using it as energy, prevents methane emission and replaces fossil fuels. Renewable energy for agriculture, solar-powered irrigation, solar coal storage, reduces dependence on diesel generators. Policy framework, Nigeria signed the Paris Agreement, 2015, Nigeria's nationally determined contribution, NDC, under the Paris Agreement includes commitments to reduce GHG emissions, especially from oil and gas sector leakage, promote renewable energy, protect forest, REDD+ program, reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. National Agricultural Resilience Framework, NERDC, Nigeria's framework for climate adaptation in agriculture. ECOWAS regional climate change adaptation policies. Key points: climate change, long-term shifts in global temperatures and weather patterns, primarily caused by human GHG emissions. Greenhouse gases, CO2 or fossil fuels, deforestation, CH4, livestock, rice, waste, N2O, fertilizers, CFCs, impacts on Nigerian agriculture, erratic rainfall, drought in north, flooding in south, desertification, lake chart shrinkage, sea level rise, new pest, fall armyworm. Adaptation, drought/heat-tolerant varieties, IITA, irrigation, water harvesting, agroforestry, conservation agriculture, early warning systems, NIMET, diversification. Mitigation, forest protection, efficient fertilizer use, reduced deforestation, biogas, solar energy, reduced livestock methane. Policy, Paris Agreement, Nigeria's NDC, NARF, ECOWAS climate adaptation. Agriculture is both a victim and a contributor to climate change, emission reducing. Climate-smart agriculture is the dual solution. WAEC questions: define climate change, explain the greenhouse effect, state GHGs and sources, describe impacts on Nigerian agriculture, explain adaptation strategies, explain mitigation strategies, state government/international climate policy.